President Trump recently called Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator, specifically a dictator without elections. But you have to wonder, who else does President Trump think is a dictator? Who does he not think is a dictator? Well, we've got an example of someone who he seems to not think is a dictator, and it's someone who actually is a dictator. So, USA Today reports, President Donald Trump dodged Friday when asked if he would apply the same description of dictator to Russian President Vladimir Putin, whose grip on power is widely viewed by Western governments and independent observers as undemocratic. Quote, "Do you think that President Putin is also a dictator?" Trump was asked by a reporter Friday during a swearing-in ceremony for Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Trump responded, "I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together because you know what? We want to stop killing millions of people." Trump has been deeply critical of Zelensky in recent days, blaming Ukrainian leaders for Russia's invasion and falsely claiming the Ukrainian president only has 4% support in opinion polls while offering friendlier words about Putin. Quote, "I've had very good talks with Putin and have had not such good talks with Ukraine," Trump told a group of governors gathered at the White House Friday. "They don't have any cards, but they play it rough." The attacks on Ukraine's leader by the new president mark a sharp turn in the U.S. stance toward the conflict. President Biden supported Ukraine's self-defense and worked with other Western leaders to isolate Putin. Trump, meanwhile, has pushed Zelensky to negotiate a peace deal on terms that some observers view as highly favorable to Russia. You don't say. The U.S. held ceasefire talks with Russian leaders this week that did not include Ukrainian officials. Trump's approach to the conflict has alarmed U.S. allies in Europe, many of which see Russian aggression as a threat to their own security. Because it is. Trump and Zelensky exchanged sharp words during the week. Trump said during a press conference Tuesday that Ukrainian leaders should have never started the war, despite the war starting with Russia's 2022 invasion. It was a year ago today. Zelensky responded Wednesday that "I would like to have more truth with the Trump team," and said the president is living in a web of disinformation. Trump then called Zelensky a dictator without elections on social media Wednesday. Zelensky was democratically elected in 2019, so President Trump is wrong. So, what does this indicate? Look, it indicates that Trump is very friendly with Putin. He just is. He's favorable to Putin. And you know, all the resistance liberals throughout his first term who were screeching that he was a Manchurian candidate, that he's a puppet to Putin, while some of their claims might have been kind of hyperbolic, you can't totally blame them for saying that. You can't blame them in the sense that Trump's given them something to work with. There's blood in the water. There's something there. The guy is totally deferential to Putin. He criticizes Putin's opponent, Zelensky. Why does he need to act this way? What types of strings are attached to this or might be attached to this? What does Vladimir Putin have on Trump? Why is Tucker Carlson, who's friends with Trump, such close friends with Putin? Why? Why? There are so many whys when it comes to Trump and the Russia-Ukraine thing. Now, yeah, I mean, Trump sat down with Putin at the Helsinki conference and, you know, he schmoozed it up with him. Remember that back in 2018? A reporter asked Trump, "When are you going to tell Putin to stop meddling in our elections?" And Trump said, "Don't interfere in our elections," as a joke, you know, and Putin laughed. So it's like he's schmoozing it up with the guy so hard. So he's kind of making it easy for the resistance liberal types to go nuclear against him and accuse him of being a Putin puppet. So is he a Putin puppet? We don't know that. We don't necessarily know that. The Mueller report did say that there was not necessarily collusion in the 2016 election between Trump and Russia, even though there was Russian interference. That's objectively true. But yeah, Trump's got a lot going on there with this whole Russia thing. I don't know if we'll get to the bottom of this by the end of his presidency or after his presidency. It would not surprise me to find that there was something going on between Trump and Russia after his presidency. We tend to find out about things like this after the fact. Think about President Reagan, you know, and some of his sketchy dealings with regard to the Iran-Contra affair that we only recently found out in 2023, April 2023, almost 2 years ago. Someone said, someone who was associated with Reagan said, "Yeah, no, we colluded with Iran to basically keep the hostages." So, yeah, it was an October surprise. So, Trump, I think we've got some stuff to unmask there. If there's nothing to unmask, this is still deeply concerning because he is wrong about who is a dictator. His definition of dictator is utterly broken, not based in reality at all, and just plain stupid. If he's calling Zelensky a dictator and not answering whether or not Putin is a dictator, and you know what? As Tim Walz said, it's a damning non-answer. It's a non-answer that means, no, Putin's not a dictator. Putin's a really cool guy, you know. Putin's my friend. I've had very good conversations with him, as he constantly makes the decision, the voluntary decision, the purposeful decision to point out, I have very good conversations with Vladimir Putin. He's a very good guy. I have good conversations with him. I have not had very good conversations with Zelensky. Bad conversations. Dictator without elections. It's embarrassing that we have a president who's so sympathetic to Russia and so unsympathetic to Ukraine, who is the victim in all this. Russia invaded them. He blames the victim. He's doing victim blaming, which is not all that surprising given Trump's treatment of women, but that's a different subject. Trump is blaming the victim, saying that they provoked the war, that they provoked the invasion of their country 3 years ago. That is misinformation. And you know what? The term misinformation might get overused, but not as it relates to Trump. Trump is swimming in Russian misinformation. He thinks Putin's not a dictator. What more misinformation do you need there? I mean, that is as false as it comes. It is a horrible understanding of political science, a horrible understanding of foreign policy, a horrible understanding of government. Trump should read a book on dictatorships, on democracy, on constitutions, on elections, all those things, before he goes casting stones. And he should stop acting like a dictator himself. He should stop doing that. He should stop quoting Napoleon Bonaparte over on X, saying, he who saves his country violates no laws. That sounds like something Putin would say too. It sounds like something a dictator would say. And yet he's so focused on calling other leaders dictator. Sheer hypocrisy. Sheer hypocrisy. Does Trump understand hypocrisy? No, he doesn't. Either that or he doesn't care about it. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Morris the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.